Welcome to Tailgate Talk, 97.3 The Game. A little different again this week. We're doing things remotely because, yet again, there's the COVID exposures thing. My son goes to a preschool, and we had a situation where I guess a bunch of his kids that were in his class showed up tested positive, so he had, obviously been in contact with them. He's not tested or shown any signs of anything. I haven't either, but just to be safe, we're, doing the responsible thing and staying home and quarantining. So the show we're going to do remotely.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh, I'm sorry. He's trying to watch a movie while we're doing the show here this morning, and so I have to be quiet so we can watch his movie.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. I mean, obviously, part of your job is talking for a living. So,
right.
As is mine, but yours is much more important than mine since people actually listen to yours.
Yeah, and the one thing that, when I talk, it's impossible for me to be quiet when I talk.
Correct. Yeah. But I'm kind of digging the fact that you're in that corner, though. I haven't been to your house, but I know that that's my favorite corner in your home.
Oh, yes, behind me on the video screen. So for those listening, the video chat that we're on here, you can see behind over my shoulder, I've got my bourbon and rum bar. So these are all my library as well. So I've got a collection of my, reading material, which is, basically cookbooks and things from, famous chefs and, things from all around the world. People that really inspire me and, kind of this, it's my library. So when I go to it for inspiration for food and stuff, and above it, sitting on top of it, one side of it is my collection of rum. And the other side is my collection of bourbons, and directly placed in between the rums and bourbons, you can see is a nice shiny glass trophy that I received in Nashville a couple months ago.
I thought you were going to say that's your CMA shelf, not your alcohol shelf, but that's all right. Either way, it works. It works no matter what you call it.
Well, if they add a couple more CMAs, and then we'll have to find a new place for the alcohol, but. Yeah, so there's quite a collection. We talked about bourbons on this show. I'm trying to remember what episode it was. We opened and got talking about it. Real quick, maybe we'll jump into bourbon stuff here in a sec, but I want to mention that because of the technological stuff they're going on, Wag's not on the show this week, so it's just myself, Ritter, and Eric Tasker this week. So we'll get Wags back on next week when we don't have to be so remotely. We're just going to have to deal with me being yelled at by a 4-year-old throughout the entire show. So I hope everyone can handle that today.
Besides all the bourbon that's close by, you can always drink away your worries with that. But we both got our coffees. You're at home. I'm at the office. Everything is good for you?
Everything is absolutely good for me. Like I said, we're just doing this to be safe. I have no symptoms, anything. And, I'm in this weird position that I can't, afford to get COVID right now because I'm less than 2 weeks, so actually less than a week and a half from a trip, which actually this show I'll be doing live from another country coming up in 2 weeks. So not today, obviously, not next week, but the week after. This show will have me live from another country.
You're gonna catch one of those long noses on your hat.
Yeah, the old billfish. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Mexico, do a lot of beach fishing. Surf fishing and stuff. So, snappers.
I can't wait to hear about it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, I will try and be quiet so you can watch your movie.
Love this.
I love
awesome. This is our second rendition. So, we're pretty comfortable doing this now because this isn't our first go around.
Right.
But, it's what we got to deal with. And, we just kind of roll with the punches as we've been able to kind of develop and adapt. And, we've been able to do this now for 2 years that, we've kind of reformulated everything that we do from a sales perspective too, where we just do everything through our computers. For the longest time, we were doing everything through here anyway. So we're all pretty at least familiar with operating here, and we'll make it work. We'll get it by.
I don't know. So I don't know anyone that's not done some sort of Zoom call, any kind of video thing since the start of the pandemic. Couple things to get to on the show today, and we're going to talk about fish fries. If you follow us on Instagram @on the tailgate, I was a little post there of a little fish fry action, and so we're going to talk a bit about that on the show. So we're going to get to some of that, kind of some favorite ways to do fish, to have fish, best places to get fish, that we've ever had. So we'll talk about that. Shows, podcasts, other things, recommendations for you, because as much as we appreciate you listening to us, being part of this, we listen to other stuff too. We all take in content from all kinds of different places. So sharing some of our favorites and other things like that. And I've got a tip for what I would say is the easiest thing that you can do during the off season, whatever it is, whether it's fishing, it's hunting, in your off season, that I guarantee will make you better and improve your season next year. It's super simple, and you're going to be like, okay, tell me more. So we'll get to that coming up towards the end of the show here. But want to kind of get into some like house cleaning and some other stuff before we really jump into some of the stuff here and just kind of update stuff we talked about on the show and, see where things sit here. I know I was going to bring up about a year ago, we gathered here and we talked about a wolf hunt and all the controversy of that. Oh, I'm sorry. I know.
Be quiet.
I'm being hushed by a 4-year-old, like a lot of people have hushed everyone about wolf hunts.
You'll be quiet.
I will be quiet.
Okay, calm down. Calm down. Take a deep breath.
Calm down. I love it. Oh, this is so good. I mean, I guess I haven't seen anything. I mean, I usually end up getting, something that pops up in my Facebook feed or like an email from the DNR, something regarding that. But I haven't heard anything about it since they postponed the last one, which should have been the early part of November, which I was really nervous about that because we were going to be going up and doing our rutcation. Well, I was going to be going up north and you were going to be local for our rutcations. And it was actually kind of nice that it got postponed. I mean, I felt good about it because I didn't want to have to be, strapped down in orange and worrying about all of that. I should go back and look because I feel like that's right when I did see a wolf then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I never even thought about that up until just right now, that could have very well been the time frame that would have been.
It would have been, yeah, because the wolf season was set to start there in the like end of October time, so right before rutcon.
Yeah.
But where it sits, it's still a no-go. I was waiting to see if something was going to change back as we got towards this winter. Because remember last year, it was they said no-go, and then there was the whole lawsuit thing, and there was the force put together really quickly in February, which is, why we had an entire episode of the show just focused on the controversy around that and kind of, getting accustomed to it. Which if you want to know more and haven't checked that out, go and check it out. It's a previous episode. It was from last year. We really break down the controversy as far as both sides of the fence of, pro wolf hunting and the not wolf hunting and why there's this whole controversy involved and around that. But they're still sitting right now, no issued licenses. They're not going to be doing it, they're saying. But I love the latest thing that I've seen. They're talking about how the department plans to continue working towards promulgation of rules and a completion of a wolf management plan to guide their management decisions. It's like they went to like synonyms.com to figure out the biggest word they could possibly put on this thing. However, if you do live in an area where respect wolves are in part of depreciation of livestock, pets, hunting dogs, things like that, you can still contact the DNR. I mean, there are still, I believe, the the damage type stuff, the damage control. The DNR numbers, you can look this up on the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources site and get you all the info on that. But as far as this year, it looks like there will be no wolf hunt until possibly this fall. You think maybe they're going to be able to get something put together?
I don't know. We always talk about having a PR issue, and we even talked about that back in November again when everything got postponed. I guess I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, I feel like if up north where we are, I know that there's a ton of wolves up there, and I know that there's a bunch of people that have had issues with wolves up there. So I'm all for it because I just don't want to see the deer population go down. As long as we are able to do it in a fashion that it's not, okay, next week we're going to do a wolf hunt. Get your applications in, find out if you get one of the lottery ticket or not lottery tickets, but like the lottery tags for it. I hate the way that rolls out. So if they do it in a normal format, like, I mean, how many seasons do we have in the state of Wisconsin where it is a lottery format and it is something that you have to apply for, whether that's bear or turkey or whatever other season that might be. I just hope they get it to a point where it's a normal rollout and all of that, and that it doesn't create all of this controversy every time that it comes around. Because that just, it feels bad and it looks bad, and I hate that.
It puts kind of it tarnishes it.
Yeah.
From both sides, good and bad. It just puts a weird, it puts a bad smell on it. So.
Yeah.
Another big event happening in and around the culture of the state of Wisconsin, sturgeon spearing, coming up February 12th. So we're just a couple of weeks away from the big sturgeon spearing on Lake Winnebago system. So that's Winnebago, Butamore, Winneconne, and up and into the river system.
The shortest season of all of the seasons in the state of Wisconsin.
Other than last year's wolf hunt, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that sturgeon is not the only fish that you can spear in the state of Wisconsin?
Is it pike or muskie?
It is pike. However, there's a caveat. You can't just go to any lake and spear them. Only on Lake Superior.
Interesting.
I did not know until recently started looking. I was kind of like studying in the whole, aspect of spearing of pike because I'm like, Minnesota, it's open. It's a regular practice in Minnesota, the Dakotas. I think there's like 8 states total that have open pike spearing. Obviously, native, lands and tribal stuff is different rules. So there's like, I know there's parts of the northern part of the state where, on the reservations, it's spearing walleyes and everything is completely legal to members of the tribe. And they set their own rules and do their, so like that's their right to do that. I'm like seeing other people in other states have pike spearing, and I'm like, why don't we and did we ever in the state? And that's when I got look at it and found, oh my gosh, you can on Lake Superior.
Interesting.
I'm going, that might be a fun trip. Because how many times, as ice anglers, have you been in a situation where if you can, see down your hole, you're doing kind of sight fishing, and you see a pike come swimming up and just slowly sit there, and you're like, man, I could drop a spear on him right now. He's not gonna he won't take your bait, but he's like staring at whatever you got. It's like, oh, that'd be so cool. I think it'd be fun. There's something, I don't want to use the word barbaric, but like, it just feels like
primal.
Primal. Absolutely. Like that's the purest form of ice fishing or ice hunting. I think back to some of the early tribes that were, passing and going over the stretch from Alaska and coming into America, tracing away back that, there's spearing through the ice. That was a big part of the culture. And even, tribes of the Pacific Northwest. And that's how they survived for a lot of winter.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy though. And that's kind of how I've always felt about bow hunting. I mean, primal is the word that I always think of because it is like the most elementary or like, I don't know, natural form of trying to harvest an animal. And, it's such a big thing because we hear about the sturgeon spearing every year, because it's such a crazy season. It always seems like it's so hectic because it starts and it's over so quickly, because they cap it at X number of sturgeons every year to try and regulate the population, not over harvest. And you always see the news reports on it. You see all the ice shacks that are out on the lakes in the Oshkosh area. And I don't know, man. I think it's such a cool thing. And I feel like that's something that stands out for Wisconsin and Minnesota and, all of these like northern states that have this great fishing population and this fishing culture that we have. It's cool just to see that and kind of just experience that every year in February or, whenever that comes around, just hear the stories about it and see everybody, see how long the season actually lasts. Like you said, with the wolf season, it's kind of over and done with so quickly. So I'm always interested to see how that pans out.
All right. As far as before we get rolling really into the show and start talking fish fries and stuff, is there anything you wanted to cover and touch base with, Task?
No, we kind of chatted beforehand. I've got some questions for you about fish fries. So when we get into that and, I pulled some stuff. I looked up a couple different things, about like things to do in the off season. So I'll share those with you when we get to that. And I think it'll be fun. I mean, fish fries and, it's such a big thing in Wisconsin. I mean, we all love fish fries. And so there's so many great places to go. And, I feel like it'll be good to chat about that. I'm curious to see where you stand on some of these. So.
All right. Well, we're going to touch base on that. You want to text us your favorite fish fry? You can do that right now. 799-1973. Again, your favorite fish fries, or hit us up on our socials @on the tailgate. I'm Ritter @the real Ritter, as in like fishing reel, REL. ET5504 is my man Eric Tasker as well on the socials. You just got the two of us, and we're going to be talking a Wisconsin staple, fish fries. It's old-fashioned fish fries. That's what we love in the state of Wisconsin, no doubt. And, the Lenten season around the corner, to me, that's one of the most important things. This was a debate that I had with someone recently. And they said, well, Friday fish fry in Wisconsin, because I had said that the first Friday of Lent, Good Friday, is like the biggest of fish fry. Like that's the biggest fish fry day, period. They're like, oh no, I'm like, no, it's
Yeah.
not every Friday. It's that good, like Good Friday is like the fish fry day, period. Would you agree?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's got to be hands down, like multiplier of most other Fridays.
Because us Catholics, that's all we do is eat our fish or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to get us through our Fridays during Lent,
Right.
which is,
Yeah.
a struggle for a meat eater like me.
Right. You just get it in on Thursday and Saturday then.
Right. Big, real quick, want to touch big Packer game tonight. I feel like on the podcast, I hope this like holds well, and like we're talking more football stuff on next week's show and going forward. So we're just going to leave it there. But I just wanted to acknowledge that is happening. Look forward to that, which is why definitely no fishing for me today. But I was actually chatting with our boy John Resnick of Clam,
Yeah.
trying to work something out to go chase some big crappies tomorrow, which to me is one of the best fish to do a fish fry with.
Okay,
Big old mess of
that's one
crappie.
of my questions for you. All right, so I guess that was question number 3 that I had for you. So your go-to fish, is it cod, walleye, perch, bluegill, crappie? I mean, you just said crappie is one of your favorites. So
To fish for and eat. And, this is the crazy part about the state here, us being in Wisconsin, and this show and us specifically being centered around the southern part of the state. Now, I grew up in the northern part of the state, grew up in Green Bay. And we go out for fish fry there or anywhere north of there, it's perch. Everything is perch. If you're just going for fish fry, it's perch. A lot of places will have bluegill on the menu. And
Sure.
you might have like a pan-fried walleye or sometimes smelt. The whole smelt fried thing goes with it. But that's a fish fry in the northern part of the state. I moved down into the Milwaukee area where I am now, and everything is cod.
Yeah.
I'm not so fond of the whole beer batter. I'm not a fan of cod fish fry. I am still like,
Okay.
I think it's just because I grew up with it. To me, it's perch. If I'm going to go out for fish fry, I want perch or bluegill, and that's I'm just not a big fan of the cod.
Yeah. I'm just going to preface this by saying I don't care what kind of fish it is. I'll eat a fish fry. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, cod is great. I mean, it's something that you'll find everywhere. But I feel like we're very fortunate in the state that it's hard to go to a restaurant and not have multiple options of fish.
At this point, yeah.
I mean, can you even go anywhere for a Friday fish fry, especially during Lent, that they don't have 2, 3, 4, 5 different options of fish that you can get whatever you want?
You got the classic church fish fries where it's like you get either the fried cod or was it pollock is like the other option.
Yes.
Is it pollock? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I have to say that I think my favorite is walleye. I mean, I love that. It's a good hearty piece of fish. But every once in a while I'll change it up. I will get a perch. But I mean, if they don't have a bunch of options, or if I just feel like getting just like the regular, I'll usually just go with the cod or the pollock or whatever they've got for like their standard.
I mean, I am, when it comes to walleye, a pan-fried walleye. The batterings matter too, and people get real specific about their batters. I am not like a beer batter, like thick. To me, it just soaks up too much grease. I'm much more that thinner kind of crackery. Like, obviously, in my house, my wife having a gluten intolerance, we do everything gluten free. So it's a much thinner kind of coating, more so that I use. A lot of cornmeal mixed with some baking cornstarch. There we go, cornmeal and cornstarch. That's basically what goes into mine, and it's in Tony Sachero. It's actually shared the recipe how I do that gluten free, fish fry. It's on my YouTube channel, and kind of fried it some fish and did a little, potato, a little outdoors. I call it the fish camp cook of fish. It's kind of similar to what we do like when we go up in Canada and do the shore lunches.
Sure.
Which to me, that's the best way to fish cooked with some oil over a fire. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to beat that. I mean, everybody's always like, oh, well, you want to make sure that your fish is super fresh and whatever, but there's just no better way to do it than when we did our trips to Lake Erie where we would do the walleye fishing. You get them filleted up at the end of the day, and you just take care of all the prep work and everything. You just heat up some oil and do it right there at camp. I mean, fish caught that day. It's just I'm almost positive. I'm almost 100% positive. It's just so much better because you just did all the fishing all day and you brought it back, and that's actually what you caught. So, but I love that, man. That's just that's like some of the best memories, of just going back to camp and having the catch of the day. And it's always a lot of fun. So,
All right, sides. Let's hit that real quick while we're talking fish fries here on Tailgate Talk. Are you a fries or a potato pancakes person?
I'm a potato pancakes guy.
All right.
It's hard to find them though.
It is getting harder and harder.
It's not
Are you
as common.
applesauce or are you the like sour cream?
I'm an applesauce guy. I mean, that's like a good German way of eating them. So that's yeah. I mean, that's usually how I roll. So, yeah, I was gonna ask you. So are you potato pancakes, fries? If fries, what kind of fries? Because you could do waffle fries, regular fries, sweet potato fries.
Straight fries, but I am with you. Potato pancakes, if it's an option, I'm probably always going to go that because
Yeah,
I mean, again, the German in me, but then also the fact that it is harder to find. So if it's something I can find, I'm going to go potato pancakes. And then a lot of times, like my wife is the fries person,
sure.
so if I want like two, three fries, I can snatch some of hers and I still get my potato pancakes. So like, there's
Yeah,
that, you each do the same thing.
yeah.
Do
All
you
right.
have a
So I
favorite?
know I know this is going to be interesting. So what are your thoughts on coleslaw?
I love it. I love coleslaw. Anything with cabbage, I love. I'm a big, big fan of cabbage. I mean,
So are you a creamy or a vinegar guy?
it doesn't matter both.
Doesn't matter.
I'm
Okay.
I'm with it either way. I think I probably prefer the vinegar over the creamy,
That's what I
but
thought you'd say. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't I have a preference in the creamy, I guess, but I will almost always, no matter where we go and no matter what I'm eating, if coleslaw is an option, I will almost always try that.
I'd be
I will
shocked if
always
it
get it as a
weren't.
side because I just want to see what everybody does for their coleslaw.
Do you have a favorite place to get fish or you've ever gotten fish anywhere in the state of Wisconsin?
Ooh.
I mean, we're known for fish fries. We do fish fries all over. We've traveled every corner of the state, and been to some dive bars, some supper clubs, wherever. I mean, there's got to be a fish fry
Yeah.
that comes out at you.
Um, I guess, we kind of stick to our neck of the woods. I mean, I've had them in a lot of different places, but I feel like our go-to, because we're up in the Hartford Slinger area, if we usually go out, we will end up going to the Slinger House, and I think that I've had a really good walleye fish fry from them. Um,
Great food period at the Slinger House, man. They
yeah,
take it like for as small town as Slinger is, that is an elevated, like that's a legit awesome
for sure.
restaurant. If you're ever in that area, if you listen to the show somewhere else, you're ever in that Slinger area, gotta get to the Slinger House. That place
Yeah.
is awesome. They do good Bloody Marys too.
Yep. Yeah, their old fashions are great. They don't make them in the shorty glasses; they make them in the tall glasses. So, yeah, that's kind of a go-to spot for like going out. I mean, it's super convenient for us to go there, but I've enjoyed, and they're one of the places that has multiple options where you can get perch or walleye. And then what I like about theirs is that you get two big slabs of, instead of like a bunch of smaller pieces, they give you two big fillets, which I do like, and that is like a pan fried. So, what
I'm,
about you?
you know, that that's a tough one for me. Like if I'm gonna go like all time of anywhere, I'm probably gonna say the Redwood Inn or the Redwood Two is what it's called, just outside of Green
Okay.
Bay. Like this is a place where it's straight up like old school supper club. So they open at 4 on Fridays. So you're gonna have to
Yeah.
get there basically at 4. And when you walk in the door, they give you a number for an order of what when you walk in the door.
Sure.
You go up to the bar, order your old fashions, do your thing, hang out. Eventually, a waitress or waiter, whatever, will come around, looking for a certain number, and then grab your party and take your order there at the bar. All right. You keep hanging around, drinking, doing your thing. It could be an hour, it could be 2 hours that go by, and suddenly they just like call your number, your table's ready, and you show up, and like everything's there, done, waiting at the table for you. Your whole
Interesting.
order's set, and then you just sit down, eat your food, and that's it. It is such a good fish fry. Again, it's obviously perch, that
Yeah.
that they do. So you got your single, your double, or your triple that you can order. as far as sizing goes. It's awesome food. It's really good. And there's
That's
something I think fun about that like atmosphere of how it is. Like if you're not there right when they
Sure.
open, like plan, you're going to be hanging out for like probably 2 hours before you eat. So it's like you almost have to like pre-plan knowing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's again a part of the culture, a part of the fun part of a fish fry at a place like that. I love finding places like down here in Milwaukee is the first place I've really caught it is like the sportsman plate where like it's
Okay.
if someone has like walleye, bluegill, and perch
Sure.
like together in one plate. And I will if you've a sportsman or like that kind of like combo, I will always order that. What I
Get
can
that
think of
time.
super local in Milwaukee, a Club Paragon on Highway 100 in Greenfield, right near where our
Yeah.
studios are.
Yeah.
They have one of those. It's
Yeah.
pretty good fish fry. I've done that one a
Yeah.
couple of times.
So I found a couple. I tried to find what like the top rated fish fries were in the state. So I found a couple different links, and there were a couple common denominators. So the Owl's Nest is in Poinette. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that, but that was one that
I've heard of
popped
the
up
Eagle's
a number
Nest,
of
not the Owl's
times.
Nest.
Dexter's Pub in Madison.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Kegel's Inn here, right in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
And
I've been to Kegel's.
yeah, and then Crawfish Junction was the other one that pretty much popped up at the top of the list on most of them, and that is in Milford. So right by Milford Hills, the trap shooting place there, kind of by Johnson Creek area. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe the place in Milford is a spot that I'll take the wife one of these nights, and we'll just make a trip of it and go out there because I keep seeing it. It looks like a cool, it's got like the knotty pine and all that stuff on the inside, and Sherry loves fish fries too, so it'd be a good little trip for us to do that sometime. So
We're gonna send you on assignment, Eric Tasker on assignment. And you're gonna go try fish fries and report to it on Tailgate Talk.
yeah, I could do that.
Sounds like a horrible job, huh? So last week we kind of broke down the gas station snacks. We did a little bracket. I think next week I want to do something similar, but best wild foods.
Okay.
So I'm going to take submissions of your favorite wild foods on our socials. It's at on the tailgate, or you can always text them in 799-1973. Best like wild foods. Like I'm talking like, just like we're talking about, you're saying like a shore lunch, a fish fry, or you want to say like venison back straps, just like a specific kind of food. And I'm gonna put it together and do like a 1 to 16 bracket, and we'll do it again. We'll kind of break down once we get all of us together again.
Like that could be very difficult.
Right. In the conversation,
that would be tough. Yeah.
So look for that coming up next week in the show. We're Tailgate Talk, brought to you by our friends at Buck Rub Outfitters in Pewaukee. They are the Midwest leading archery and crossbow authority. All of the major bow manufacturers had the new bows that just came out. Well, they carry Matthews. They carry Bowtech. They've got them. They've got all the new bows in stock for you to go and check out, shoot, purchase all of it. They've got a great, great staff. They're super, super helpful. 3 amazing ranges. I know their winter leagues just started up this past week. So, if you're looking for something to do in the spring, maybe look at one of those leagues. But again, get out there, shoot, check them out. Check out some of the products. They're all available. You can go to buckrubarchery.com. So we talked fish fries. So we talked some fish stuff. We could probably push that aside a little bit, but it's Ritter and Tasker, by the way. I wanted to mention you were on another podcast just this past week, Tasker.
Oh yeah, with our friend Shanna Lambo, as I like to call her, and Armin, the Armenian from our station that we're on right now. So they do a podcast called And Stuff, where they just talk about all of these different things and stuff. And it was kind of cool. I was not expecting to do that. It's always so funny because until I started actually doing this show, I'd always really shied away from doing anything with the radio stations besides just, obviously working with clients. And I remember doing some remotes where Quinn was actually on site and she was doing a live show, a full broadcast. And she's like, "Oh, do you want to jump on in this next break with me?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go outside." I'm like, I don't want anything to do with any of this. And, until we started doing this, it I guess just kind of broke that shell for me, which has been kind of fun to do this and be a part of this show. And And so I was talking to her about something else. We just recently had our Class Up show on our sister station, FM 106. And I just had a couple follow-up questions for her, and Armin happened to be in the room. And I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're getting ready to, do our podcast. I'm like, oh, that's fine. I can get out of here. She hits the record button, says, no, why don't you just stay and just chat with us? And I'm like, I guess I'm here. So
I love it. I love the name too,
yeah,
and
so
stuff.
That's a lot of fun.
That's basically like our show. It's like outdoors and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Lately, I had a lot more of the stuff than all the other stuff. But that makes it fun, Like there's all these like outdoor shows, and there's been these like crazy where it's just like I don't know. To me, the whole concept of the show that we've talked from the beginning is tailgate talk. It's just friends, family hanging around, just BSing. I mean, that's what it is. Like, if you want to listen to someone yabbering on about the pro and this is how you kill big bucks and this is how you catch, like, there's other places for that. Like that's not who we are. That's not how I feel like most of us. We're not that person, and that's not the conversation that we typically have. So like just having these things like we sit around talking about fish fries, man. We're breaking down gas station snacks. Like that's the real stuff, and that's what this show is. I love that and stuff portion, but.
Don't get me wrong. I do want to be the big buck killer, though. I do want to be that guy.
Well, we can work on that again next year. Yeah. Is there any, other content you take in? Any other shows, whether it's, YouTube, TV, podcasts, something, things that you read that you are really into and you think enriches, your connection, your experience with the outdoors in any way, shape, or form?
Well, I think the trailblazer in our, I guess, niche within this industry has been the Meat Eater series, which we're very fortunate to have part of our iHeartRadio family. And, they were one of the very first podcasts that I really kind of got hooked on. And, Ranella, he's done so many different things, and he's just had so many life experiences. And, all starting with everything that he did with the TV show that then turned into this podcast series. And I think it's 5 or 6, the last that I checked, within that Meat Eater network, which has been really cool just to kind of see some of the other guys, like Cal doing his Cal's Week in Review, and the Bear Grease podcast, which is just such a very interesting storytelling kind of experience. And just some of the other guys that have kind of spun off on their own and doing some of those other things. And, the Wired to Hunt series has been really cool. I mean, that was one of my favorites in the fall because they got it up to the point where it was 3 different shows every week, where one was the Rut Report, where they call in like 5, 6, 7 different states, on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think the rut action is? But they go into a lot of different like tactics and techniques and just like tips and tricks and things like that, which was a lot of fun to just kind of see everything that's spun off into. So I guess that most specifically, but then, I've got a couple fitness podcasts that I've been listening to just specific to triathlon now that I'm like starting to train again and just trying to get back into shape, which I know you're doing the same thing. And then I'm a Joe Rogan fan, so I've listened to that. He's just got so many, his breadth of knowledge on the million different people that he has on his show, that he just can have a conversation with anybody and it always sounds so good, is mind-blowing to me.
I think he's a great researcher, and as someone that does interview a lot of people often, one of my kind of things how I go about an interview, I don't ever have questions or a plan. I just have a conversation.
Sure.
And the things that spur out just a conversation, I think are so natural and good. Right. And I think that's what makes someone like Rogan. I think he just has a conversation. Like he does research on a person or something he might know, and then just has a conversation with them about, kind of within their wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually watched a YouTube video one time on his interviewing tactics and like his tactics that he has going about his podcast. And almost always he starts off with a lighthearted compliment that comes off as just a statement, where it's like, it can just be something completely off the wall, but it always gets the other person talking. And it's just so interesting where there were 10, 12 clips of him starting that conversation. And it's always just like, when you see a really good sales rep and you see somebody like actually, conveying a message about a product, you know that it sounds really good. And he does that same exact thing, which is where his following has come from, just to be able to have that supernatural conversation kind of feel, but also get a lot of information out of people from, whether that's, medical experts or if it's like psychologists or hunting and fishing or MMA fighters or what. It's amazing to me. It's so crazy the variety that he has. That sounds really good.
Yeah, something that you mentioned, I bounce back and forth and around. I love Mark Kenyon with Wired Hunt. I
Yeah.
think Mark is a really cool dude, really knowledgeable, and just really, really personable. Obviously, Steve, I actually stumbled upon him back years ago. It was actually his first book. It was
Okay.
random. I was like searching around like on my wife's Kindle in like the Kindle store, and I'm like, Meet Here. I kind of just like reading it, like a little excerpt of it. I'm like, this sounds like a really good book, and like purchased, and I read the book. And that was before the TV show. It was before any of that stuff. And I'm not like being like, oh, I knew him before, but like
Yeah.
to see from just this random book I stumbled upon, like you'd think, oh, it's an interesting book, and you're never gonna hear this name ever again. To where it is now, it's like it's unreal. And I mean, there's so much of Steve that I connect with, a lot of what's important to him and kind of his core values. I think is a lot of me. Wild foods, that sort of stuff is a big part of me, which is why, I mean, one of the podcasts that I absolutely love and am big into, not even wild foods, but just food in itself, is the Dave Chang Show.
Okay.
Chef, restaurateur, David Chang. I absolutely freaking love Chang. And, just the way he talks about food and all kinds of different foods and history, and it's entertaining as hell, to me. So that's something I listen to a lot, completely out of the outdoors realm. The other back in the outdoors realm is Mercer. Dave Mercer, if you're not familiar, he's the guy, the Bassmaster, all the events, the tournaments, on stage, talking, hooting, hollering, yelling at everyone, that guy that's on stage yelling. That's Dave Mercer. Really funny, entertaining, one of my favorite Canadians ever. And so he's got a really great show, talking to other anglers, and not even just bass anglers. And it's really fun and entertaining to check out Mercer. I know there's a lot of other fishing podcasts out there. You mentioned the Meat Eater Network, Bent, they've got their own fishing podcast. I've dabbled but not really gotten into it. Mercer, to me, that's where it's at, because I love hearing the off the cuff stuff from some of these guys that I've watched on the trail, watch on the tour, which, speaking of bass fishing, they're getting ready to get fired up here. Season gets underway here in February. So pretty excited to catch some bass returning back to my weekends where I'll be doing. I know I'm one of those strange people that can stare and watch 8 hours of bass fishing coverage, but I love it, because to me, that's learning time. The more time I'm spending watching those guys, it's picking up knowledge to use on the water for myself.
Yeah, it's not that strange. So, I mean, you think people watch golf all the time too. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I could watch any of those things, or like, when like some of the Ironman races start coming back too, it's like, how can you watch somebody swim, bike, and run for 8 hours? Well, I don't know, because it's like, do you understand what it takes for them to be doing what they're doing? That's how it is with golf. I mean, they have to be so good. And same with fishing, it's something you enjoy. And if you can't be out doing it, it's fun to be able to watch it and kind of connect with it. So
awesome. Well, before we wrap up things, I wanted to mention that tip. The easiest thing that you can do in any off season, guaranteed to make you better next season. This is going to sound ridiculous when I say it, but it's 100% the truth. If you think about deer season, we just got past that. You start putting the gear away, and it's all done. And you're going to get into shed hunting pretty soon, and then you start thinking about spring, getting around. But there's this kind of like light lull time. If you're not immediately jumping on the ice, like, a lot of us in the state of Wisconsin do, me included in that, think about your fitness. That's one way to just work on your fitness, because you think about in seasons, you get so busy with things. I don't have time for this. I've got a job. We got that. Work on fitness. That's something you mentioned, Tasker. You're getting back and trying to get in shape. It's something that I've always been, kind of trying to be fit. And I think I'm a pretty fit person, but I really wanted to make a focus on this year, leading into the spring when I get back in the kayak, because there's so much core strength involved in that I want to make sure that my core stays strong, that I keep that core support. Because even if I'm, walking on the ice and doing things that physically fit, it's still not the same as like actually working your core. And I'm not like just doing like a bunch of sit-ups and whatever, but I've actually jumped on like a program, a video program that I just like watch like a trainer at home and do these workouts. And it's just something that, again, it's kept me accountable. It gives me something to do. It keeps me from sitting on the couch, like eating junk food. But also I know that I'm working something towards the goal of being more physically fit, because I think by being more fit when I get into the season next year, it's just going to make me that much better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny that you say that, though. I mean, it's so true, because you always just feel better. You know, you think about your time in the outdoors, you know, like here, like that's one of the tips that I pulled, you know, from this, like 10 great ways to prepare for the deer season in summer. Get in shape is one of them. And it says here, you know, most deer hunting isn't particularly demanding. Well, yeah, go figure. You know, the most demanding part of your day is getting up and down out of the tree.
Right.
And then you never realize, I see it every year in the fall, you never realize how out of shape you are until you have to drag a deer out of the woods. And it's like, oh, I'm going to take 5 steps and then I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to take 5 steps and I'm going to stop. You know, and that's just, it's all part of it. You know, I mean, you just feel so much better about everything. And I don't know, I kind of look at it as like, if I'm going to work hard all year, then I'm going to be able to take that time, you know, for the 9 days of the gun season or the 10 days of a rutcation or whatever. I'm going to take that time and I'm going to indulge. I mean, what the hell?
And that's what it's for. You know, and I'm not talking like, you know, trying to be like a meathead gym bra, you know, carrying your gallon jug of water, like, but just being conscious, getting moving, do something to improve your fitness in any way, shape, or form. Guaranteed, it will improve. It will make you better, even if it's not like, it's not gonna make you shoot straighter or shoot, but it's going to give you the endurance to go that extra mile, to do that extra bit, you know, to not get winded, like you said, when dragging a deer or something. There's just little parts where it's going to make your life easier, which is going to in turn make you better and make everything more enjoyable.
Right.
Who would have thought that an outdoor show was going to turn into some sort of like fitness, like pumping podcast? But it's the truth. And so I, you know, kind of just want to share that because it's been something that I've seen. I did myself, but like you mentioned, you've seen it too. I've seen it in a lot of different places. A lot of people saying exactly that. And so that's it. That's as simple as it is. Work on fitness when you have the chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's just, if not for the hunting season, just for life in general, you know. I mean, I know that the last 3 years, like ever since I did Ironman in 2018, I've just been a terrible piece of garbage. so it's nice to finally get kind of back on track. I mean, one of the things that I've been doing is I've just been getting back on the bike. So I've been doing some bike workouts. I've been doing some running. And it was nice. In the middle of January, in the middle of December, I saw this thing. You know, a big thing that you and I are connected to is the St. Jude Hospital. Mm-hmm. And one of their things was to just jumpstart your year by riding 200 miles over the course of January. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably a good goal. And now I'm like, here I am. I'm at like 70 miles and it's the 20th of January. I'm thinking, oh, Lord, I'm going to have to put in some work this weekend. But it's something to keep you accountable, and it's something to kind of get you jump started. And I mean, I feel good about that just in the grand scheme of things, because I've already started feeling better, and it's only, you know, been a couple weeks. So if not for the hunting season and fishing season, at least just do it for yourself, you know.
That Ironman thing still just scary. How the hell do you swim that long? Like nope, not for me.
2.4 miles. Yeah, man, in the water.
That is impressive. And people that run distances and all that, it's impressive. It's not my cup of tea. I do plan to run 10K this year. My wife's big into running. She loves running. That's kind of her meditation, much like me is hunting or fishing.
Yeah.
So I told her, since she picked up the bow last year and started shooting, I said, I'll come halfway. I'll do something that you like to do, and I like to run. I said, so I'll run a race with you. I'll run with you. And we can train a little bit together, and I'll go. She's a marathon. Like, she's ready. She intends to run you mentioned the St. Jude Marathon in Memphis. Like, she's like distance. That's her thing. She's already run half marathons. I'm like, 10K is the tops I'm doing. I'm like, I know I can run a 5K, so I have to like challenge myself. So that's why I said, okay, I'll do a 10K. So I'm gonna do a 10K this year with her. So I've got to at least work towards that. And I've hated running. I am not a runner.
So you're gonna meet her halfway. So you're gonna run a half marathon then.
No, I'm not going beyond a 10K. There's just no way.
All right, did you hear that, Mrs. Ritter? It's coming. A half marathon.
Nope. I've seen what went into a half marathon for her. There's no way I'm gonna. I know I physically I can't do it.
It's all about consistency. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, so. Time and training. Well, We appreciate you joining us for the show today, hanging out with us. Again, Wag's going to be back with us next week. We're going to do that wild food bracket. So if you want to vote and kind of submit your favorite wild foods or, dishes or whatever, you can hit us up at On the Tailgate. And we're going to put together a little top 16 bracket, break that down next week. We'll talk a bit about kind of what I got going on as we get 2 weeks ahead, where I'll be in Mexico doing the show, kind of going to bring some. My plan is anyway to bring some different insights. People, are here sitting on frozen lakes in ice cold Wisconsin, what it's like traveling places, and I'm going to try and come with some tips too. And this is actually a series I'm putting together for my YouTube channel, how to travel with fishing gear and how to go fishing in other places DIY. Like you don't necessarily have to do the whole charter boat, hire a guide, and how you can get out and do those things, even if it's here in the States. So I'm going to have some tips and kind of put together some stuff with that, and I'll be able to actually speak firsthand as I'm doing it in another country coming up in a few weeks. So look forward to that. Look forward to hanging out with you again next week. Thanks as always for Wags at home, relaxing, sipping his coffee. My man Tasker. Again, On the Tailgate, you want to hit us up. I am at The Real Ritter at ET5504. We'll catch you next week. More tailgate talk.